Hey guys, and welcome back. This is another one of my catch-ups from the last year, and I actually checked yesterday. I got like 29 films that I need to catch up on. Pretty much all of them are Best Picture nominees, so you're not going to really hear my opinions on the films overall until after, until after the Academy Awards, which I'm kind of sad about, but, this is the best that I can do, and I want to do everything in chronological order as far as, like, when I watch them. So, okay, this is one of those films that reminds me of why I don't do very well when reviewing a horror film, and that's because I can never really fully analyze things like the story or the overall flow, or even the music, because I'm a basic pussy. I hate being scared. Anything scares me in horror films, so when it happens, I'm so filled with adrenaline that I start thinking, because it's doing a good job scaring me, in that moment, then that means that the film is good. But really, that's just because anything can get a reaction out of me, even if the scare is extremely predictable. I am one of those people who gets scared easily by stupid, horribly made jump scares. But, that's just me. So anyway, Slender Man is the first theatrical feature release of the infamous internet urban legend. The film kind of takes inspiration from The Ring and has our four lead characters. These teenage girls watch a Ring-style video that they find on the internet that ends up summoning Slender Man, and now they have to try to find a way to survive. Now, before we get into my actual thoughts on the film, for those of the uninitiated, those who haven't actually seen any of my videos before, what I like to do is I break down my thoughts into pro and con lists. And for anybody who's done one, you know how easy it is. Pro is pretty much everything that I find good or interesting or, superior in the film, and then the cons are just pretty much anything straight up bad or just lacking in a certain quality. But there are times where, let's say I'll be doing a pro, and I'll find a way to naturally transition into a con. I will do that, but for the most part I like to keep them separately. But anyway, there's your disclaimer, let's get on to the review. Despite the fact that everything scares me, I still don't like the fact that jump scares are so prevalent in horror films these days. Sometimes being the only thing that the filmmaker or filmmakers try to use to get scares out of us as viewers. But in this one, there were a couple, but, not as much as I was really expecting. Most of the scares were from where I saw that, there would just be a wide-angle shot of an area, and Slender Man just happens to be somewhere in the shot, and sometimes you don't even know that he's there, but then when you look really closely, you can see the figure, and I don't know, that's just creepy. They didn't have to play some sort of cinematography or camera panning trick, and I really did appreciate that in this film. And speaking of Slender Man appearing, they don't really show him often, but when they do, he's primarily shrouded in darkness and shadows. And when they do show him more prevalently, before the last 5 minutes of the film, which I'll get into later, it's really a man in a really good-looking costume. I actually appreciated that the majority of what I saw of him up to the last bit of the film, he just looked like, a real person, a real entity. He was tangible. He didn't look CGI. And of course, the sound design is pretty good in the movie. Honestly, if you are like me and you want to be scared less, just close your ears. Cover your ears. Don't even close your eyes, because you'll still get scared. And I'm not even referring to that cliche violin section that shows up every time there's a jump scare or something. I'm talking about when it's just natural, everyday sounds like the tree blowing in the wind. These kind of movies are usually really good at being able to make you afraid of just something as simple as the wind. This film also definitely focused more on a psychological element with the Slender Man legend, and even brought out the ideas a few times that maybe the girls are actually going nuts, or maybe they're not. We just don't know for a while. Or at least, it seems to be hinting a lot that that's how it's going. And me having a wife that's very psychologically minded, she she likes analyzing the psychological elements of different things, especially when we go to the movies. And because of that, I get a little bit more out of it, because she's good at picking out really what works, and I'm not very good at that. And she said the film did a good job at it, so I'll take her word at it. But I know that that's something that I should be, I should actually be giving an opinion on, but it's a little bit hard for me, and you know, I'm only human. There's going to be a couple of things that I'm not an expert at. Hell, there's a lot of things I'm not an expert at. With all that being said, though, I couldn't fully analyze the movie the first time because of how scared I was the majority of the time, so I decided to rewatch it, maybe it was a couple of months ago, because I'm like, okay, I know where all the creepy stuff is, I know what's going to happen here, I know what's going to happen there. Maybe this time, going in knowing certain things, I'll actually be able to properly critique it. And luckily I did, because if I had to choose a couple of things that definitely did not work for me in this film, I would have to say that the first thing is that the acting seemed pretty hammy throughout, especially with a couple of the lead girls. And one of the lead girls is Joey King, which she's been making a bit of a name for herself in the horror genre. But, you know, when I realized that it was her, and I hadn't seen her in too much except for the first Conjuring film and maybe one other movie, I was expecting more from her. As for the second thing, the writing definitely wasn't the best, and the story beats feel like a few that we've seen before, some cliche tropes in horror, but, you know, I won't get into too many of them because that'll just take a while. But the last thing that really bothered me was that in the last few minutes, way too much went wrong, and this was when we get the full force of Slender Man, and all anyone can do is look at it and just think, that's a lot of CGI. And me personally, that's when I stopped being scared and just wanted to laugh, because the CGI on him is so terrible. It actually, it looked worse than some of the video games that he's been in, like Slender Man Arrival. The visual quality was shit. I personally think I got what I expected out of this film since the first trailer, and while I was impressed with a couple of things, I definitely forgot about this movie until I had to prepare for this review. You know, then I had to think back to everything and, you know, rewatch the movie a second time, so I didn't just say, oh my god, this movie is amazing, it's so scary. But honestly, even if I did find enjoyment in it overall, which I kind of did, I have no reason to go back and revisit, and if you guys haven't seen the movie and you're legitimately interested in seeing it, I definitely say you should see it. Everybody should try out this movie, see if it's good. It's just, for me, I think in the end it was worth my time, but if I go back and revisit it, it's not going to be. And with all that being said, that's the end of my review. Those are my thoughts on Slender Man. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please do not hesitate to hit that like button. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with everything that's going on the channel. Farewell until the next video, and you guys have a good day.